Hi, everyone. Hope everybody's doing okay. Did you find some hope last night and early this morning or some faith? I hope you did. This is Michelle Strickland. I'm developing this channel. The Lord nudged me to come on out and become more visible. People needing mentors out here. People needing somebody to give them some information. And so God is leading me to develop this channel into a family-oriented channel where people can get a little bit of something for the whole family. I'm here to encourage you young people starting out with family, trying to figure out what is you going to do? What am I going to do? We're going to also turn this into information and resource and referral place where you can kind of refer to get basic and general information and kind of an outline of where to start in your area, the kind of places to look to and toward on your journey. I want you to be encouraged in these difficult times. It is difficult. I don't want to harp on that, but it's true. It is. So it's better for us to just admit that it's difficult out here. If we all just admit it, but that doesn't mean that we stop doing what we're doing. We have to try to navigate through this whole process. I think it's very important that people plan just in case, and learn how to cut corners on certain things, As I mentioned in my first coming out video, I don't have all the answers. I'm seeking and searching myself. I'm always trying to find ways to improve and ways to save. I don't have, I live a very meager life. I have what I need. I'm not real materialistic. I like to do fun things. And who doesn't want to splurge sometimes? But there has to be a balance. There needs to be a balance. And when we're dealing with others, we got to find a balance with that too. We don't always see eye to eye with folks, unfortunately. But we have to be able to find a way to be able to navigate and work with each other to get where we're trying to go. The Lord sent me to Psalms 138. 1 through 8. I will praise thee with my whole heart. Before the gods will I sing praise unto thee. I will worship toward thy holy temple and praise thy name for thy loving kindness and for thy truth. For thou hast magnified thy word above all thy name. In the day when I cried, thou answered me and strengthened me with strength in my soul. All kings of the earth shall praise thee, O Lord, when they hear the words of thy mouth. Yea, they shall sing in the ways of the Lord, for great is the glory of the Lord. Though the Lord be high, yet he hath respect unto the lowly, but the proud he knoweth afar off. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, thou wilt revive me. Thou shalt stretch forth thine hand against the wrath of mine enemies, and thy right hand shall save me. The Lord will perfect that which concerneth me, thy mercy, O Lord, endure forever. Forsake not the works of thine own hands. So friends, it's just, know that he's with us, even though, it doesn't appear as though he is. He's closer to us than the enemies. He says they're far. They're from him. They're far from him. So it's going to be hard for them to find comfort when you're so far from him. It's rougher on us because we're with him or we're striving to get closer to him. When that happens, a lot of times the struggle becomes more intense. It becomes more intense because the enemy knows that You know, he's losing a grip on us. You know, it's rough out here. You know, it's rough. And for people to, you know, act as though it's not, that's false. Because it is rough out here. But there's also hope, and it's where we put our focus. It's where we put our focus. You know, we can't lose sight of our responsibilities, of the things that we need to make sure that we're tending to. We can't just throw up our hands completely. Oh, well, you know, I'm having a bad day, so forget everything. It doesn't work like that. It shouldn't work like that. It might work like that for some people, but where is that going to get you? So sometimes it's a matter of just, you know, snapping out of it. Oh yeah, it's rough. Yeah, the world is, yes, this there's a lot going on. Yes, but right here and right now in this house, we got to have food. We got to have the bills paid. It has got to be done. It's got to be done. You got to live somewhere. You got to live somewhere, and you got to do whatever you have to do. Hopefully it's honest. If it's not, you need to get out of that type of a mindset and get into a situation where you can become more whole with the Lord. You know, a lot of us have done things, but there comes a time in everybody's life when you need to try to do something different. If you see what you're doing isn't bringing you any type of result, positive result, why do we keep doing that? It's not just, why do we do that? Why do we hold on to something that isn't bringing us any results? Why would we do that? Sometimes we hold on to stuff way too long because it's comfortable. But is it benefiting you for the right reason? What are you getting out of it? For people to, you know, to walk around with this lack mentality. Oh, well, you know, you know what? You deserve to live too. And it's rough out here. And you know what? Sometimes we got to work 2 jobs. I had to work 2 and 3 jobs. Unfortunately, I became a single parent. I didn't think it was fun. It was hard. But I had to set the foundation right here in my house. What I was going to allow and what I was not going to allow. And I set that foundation with my kids. Now, I made a lot of mistakes. But when it came to making sure that we had somewhere to live and that we had some sort of discipline in the house, I made sure for that. And I stood firm on it. We didn't always have the best of everything. I had raggedy stuff, but I put my money into having a roof over our head. If it meant I had to have I've had mostly used stuff my whole life. People want to look at me and think that, oh, she's living this, she's got it so glorious. Listen, I've been through a whole lot. A lot. I wouldn't want it for anyone to go through all the struggles that I've gone through. I wouldn't want anyone to go through it, especially a woman. I'm a woman and went through a whole lot. Some of it was because of my own actions, and I accept responsibility for that. But I moved away from all of that. But I'm not going to let people just continuously drag me into situations that I don't deserve to be in and that shouldn't even go on. That's where we have to stand up for something. But if you don't establish some boundaries in your own house where you live with your own family, then what kind of expectations can you have for the world if your own house isn't in order, people? You know, we want to blame other people. Yeah, they have to blame. That doesn't help when they adding pressure. But start with your own house. Set up boundaries with your children. You know, those of you who are blessed to have husbands and wives, work together. Compromise. Help each other. Guys, don't just make her do everything. If she working like you, help her. I raised my sons had to work. They'll tell you. They didn't have to shoot, man. Look. They had to be disciplined. When they came in from school, they sat down. Where's your homework? Where's your work? And the hardest thing was when they were coming up. I didn't work night jobs until they got a certain age. So I lived in areas when I was coming up, because I wanted to make sure that my kids had a firm foundation. I worked only jobs during the day so I could be home at night to make sure they was in bed at a certain time, or that, when they were doing schoolwork, they had to live a disciplined life. They couldn't just, I'm gonna do whatever. No. You're gonna do this first. Then you can do some other things, not whatever. You can do some other things if I approve of it. I just that's the one thing that God worked with me and I did it okay. They turned out to be stand-up dudes. But they know I didn't cut those dudes any slack. I couldn't teach them how to be a man, but I could teach them how to be a good person. I could teach them how to be disciplined. I could teach them how to be respectable. I could expose them to the word of God. They studied 3 religions. When they got to be a certain age, I didn't force them to have to participate in the ceremonies every week. But I felt firm enough that they don't have an excuse. I don't give them an excuse today. They can't come to me with the same problem and talk about the same problem over and over and over and over and over that we already talked about, because that doesn't help you. It's not going to help you. If you have a problem, I understand that, but we got to learn how to get past our problems and our issues. We can't keep hanging on to old stuff that we done crossed and went past. As hard or difficult as it is, that only keeps us stuck sometimes. Well, our focus needs to be on right now and planning and hoping that God allows to see our plans to come through. But you got to start with, you can start with discipline. Start at the house. That's what's wrong right now. A lot of people just let their kids do whatever. You want the this and you want the that. I get it. You want that nice car and you want this. I get it. But it costs a lot of money to roll like that. Hopefully you have it, but it can be a stress on anybody. I don't care how much money you make. I found that when I was doing all that stuff, I've had this and I've had that, I've had this and I've had that, I've been with and I've been without. And I'm the poorest I've ever been since in my adult life. But I'm more happy because I don't have that. I decided that pressure of the things, having all of the things, trying to keep up. Who am I keeping up with? Who am I trying to keep up with? Who am I competing with? The neighbors? Why? Stop that. I'm not saying don't have nice things, because I'm going to get nice things too when I can afford it again. I'm not trying to be out there hustling to compete to look good. For who? People I'm driving past? The neighborhood? Let me put it to you like this. Are they going to pay your bills for you? How much time can you spend with your family out there like that? I get it. You have to work. I get it. Find a balance though. Drive that older car for a minute if you have to. If you don't have it, so you can save money. You can't pay for happiness. You cannot pay for happiness. You can't pay for it. And you need to instill that in your kids while they're young. My mother, I was blessed. When I was coming up, my father died when I was a month before my 13th birthday, or a couple of weeks, whatever it was. Was it within 30 days or so, or less? I got out there. I had to work. I worked in the neighborhood. I did other little odd jobs in the neighborhood. I worked. It was a different time back then when I was coming up. I worked in the summer times. I worked through the year, and I was an athlete, and I was a student. But my mom would sit down with me and she would talk to me about the bills. She would put a list on the table and she would show me, you got to teach your kids. You can't just go, oh, okay, just expect them to, okay, you supposed to get it. She sat down with me and she had the basic bills. This has to be paid. This has to be paid. She taught me a budget, how to do basic budgeting. So that once I got out there, I knew what to do. You got to make sure that your house is paid for first. Make sure you got a place. So what if it ain't the best place? So what? Get past that. Make your neighborhood better. Stand up. Get the authorities involved. If there's activities going on in your neighborhood, hold them accountable. Talk to them so that they'll come in your neighborhood and clean it up. So your kids can so you can go walk or whatever you got to do. Go to the store. It's our responsibility to take back our neighborhoods and to raise our families correctly. It's our responsibility. It's nobody else's responsibility to take care of your kids or your family members. You got to teach people. It doesn't stop when they grow up, but start when they're young. Have certain times of the day. Okay, this time of the day, you can do this. This time of the day, you got to do this. But make sure they're working around the house. Don't let them just be like, oh, well, I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to chill all the time. It's okay to chill all the time after you done cleaned up your room or wash some dishes or mow the grass or break the yard or do something. They should have something to do every day. After they get their responsibilities taken care of that day, then you have your free time. You create the balance in your own household. This whole world is off balance because people just sitting back going, oh, well, let's see. Let's let it run itself. Meanwhile, the bad guys are running amok. The bad guys are running amok and taking advantage because they're on their game. They're on top of it. Matter of fact, they're on top of their game. That's why this whole world is imploding. But it's up to the people who have decency to step back and grab a hold of this whole thing and say, hold up, start in your own neighborhood. Start on your own street. Start from there. If the bully's out there in front of your house selling drugs, call the police. Keep calling them. If they don't come, it's scary. Yep, the bad guys might get mad at you. Yep, they might. That could happen. After a while, they're gonna get tired. But it's up to the neighborhood to run the bad guys out. If you don't stand up, they're gonna overrun. Because that's what they do. They're bad guys. That's what they do. Listen, people. I mean, we got to start from somewhere. Start right at your own house first. And then outside of your house. Trying to make some changes. Make the changes right in your own house. Stop letting your kids run you. They're not running anything. Even if they pay a bill, so what? That's your house. Have some rules. If they want to do something else, tell them to hit it. I made my sons they knew they couldn't. I told my sons one time. I told them what I wanted them to do one time. And that was it. After that, I felt like I done told you once. That's it. After that, it was some furniture moving. I didn't put up with that nonsense out of my kids. I ain't great, no. When I mess up, I get knocked around. I got knocked around by life too when I make mistakes. You don't end with everybody else. It starts with me. When I mess up, I suffer the consequence for it. But then I'm like, oh Lord, and so then I try to get back on track. Listen, people. It is rough out there. It is. It is. It's corrupt. It's all of that. Don't let anybody tell you it's not. It is. But it starts with you. What are you going to do about it, though? We're going to just keep letting these bullies just run us over? No, I hope not. I'm not. I'm starting from right here in my house, though. and then outside. I started with my own house first, then outside. I try to live a disciplined lifestyle. When I have the money and can afford to do certain things, then I do it. I like to kick it too, just like anybody. But I gotta know when to stop too. I can't just kick it. I gotta pay my bills. Right now, my focus is just on finding out where God wants to lead me. There's some things that I want to do. I had to put my life on hold. I'll talk more about my situation as we grow. But this channel is going to be a family-oriented channel. It's going to be no whole bars sometimes. I'm going to keep it clean, you know. It's going to be some fun, but it's going to be fun. But it's also going to be about let's get it together, folks. Stop blaming everybody else. Take responsibility for yourself and your house first. Then move outside with it. You can control what's going on in your own house. If you're a grown adult and can't control your kids, I wouldn't ever tell nobody. I wouldn't tell anybody that. Not where I come from. Oh, no. And I'm proud to say that most of the people where I come from, most of them people made it. Not everybody, but mostly. Mostly they did. That's because the parents, they didn't put up with no mess out of us. I'm not talking about abuse. It's different. I'm talking about establishing boundaries and having disciplined behavior and instilling that in the kids and focusing on education. And what are you going to do? Not just help. Oh, well, just do whatever. No. You're going to do this first. Then you tell me what it is you want to do after that, and I'll think about it. You want to play? Okay. Maybe. Where are you going to play at? Where are you going to be at? You ask questions. Hold the kids accountable. Open up the conversation. Allow your kids to talk to you about whatever is going on. But just tell them to be responsible about how they talk to you about it. Because you want your kids to talk to you. You want to see who your kids' friends are. Let their friends come over so you can see who they are. Because if there's certain friends, you might not want them to be around. So you can say, hey, old so-and-so over there. Go meet the parents. Meet them kids' parents. If you can't meet the kids' parents, that's a red flag. And I'm not saying to turn that kid away. I'm just saying you need to know who your kids is around. And you need to meet the parents when you can. I'm not saying turn the poor kids around because it's not their fault. I used to feed my kids friends. I made sure I made sure my house was open. Because I wanted to see who was coming and I wanted to see who my kids' friends were. But I had boundaries, though. When they knew when they came over here, they had to have some sort of boundaries. I didn't mess around with them. And I didn't have to reprimand my kids that often because they knew. Because I started with them growing up. Don't do that. Don't mess with me. And I'm not down for bad behavior. And we all have it sometimes. So let's don't pretend. It happens. But you need to pull yourself back, get yourself back on track. Listen, people, it starts with you, okay? It starts with you, then it goes outside. Stop letting the bullies overrun your neighborhood. So what? Stop. Get past that word snitch. Get past all of that. That's the devil's word. The heck with that. Mess around in front of my house. I'm going to take pictures of you. I'm going to call if I think you're doing something messed up, I'm going to call police. Yes, I will. Because I don't want that mess around me. And we shouldn't have to live like that. So what? If you want to call me a snitch, that's fine. I'll get it stitched on my daggone clothing. Snitch. Yeah, snitch. Because you know what? My house, my space is going to be calm. I'm not going for all of the madness. It's not necessary. I'm not going to live a dysfunctional lifestyle. And none of you should have to live like that. If you're living a dysfunctional, every day is an uproar. Every day is an uproar. Every day is an uproar. Always every day. You in an argument with somebody every day. If you argue with somebody every single day, that's not good. You need to look at that. That's not healthy. I'm not gonna live like that. First of all, it's not necessary. You don't have to be in no uproar every day. I understand it happens. But you don't have to live in no uproar with people every single day, people. That's not healthy. That's not healthy. That's borderline mental health illness. Okay? And you need to get some help for that. Get some counseling. Go somewhere. Like I said, I'm going to develop this channel. And it's gonna morph. I'm gonna do different things, different days. You know, I'm home. I live in Kansas City, so I'm a Chiefs fan. Go Chiefs! But I'm gonna take you with me on my as I go through journey through town and go see different things or whatever. But I'm doing stuff. I'm not gonna always be sitting here in the house. You know, I'm gonna take you along with me to do different things in the city when I'm out and about. So you can see my beautiful city. But I'm going to encourage you to be better. To be better. It's time for a change. The Whispers have how long? Listen to that song, The Whispers. How long? Stylistics. People make the world go round. Let's get back to some sort of sanity. We got to stop letting all these negative influences from outside of us have an effect. Is demonic. We allowed the bad guys to rule for too long. Their time is up. Get back to family. This channel is going to be devoted to family-oriented stuff. Support systems. I want it to be a support system like a community bulletin board, an internet community bulletin board for people all over the world where y'all can talk and talk about where you can get help and the types of things that you have to offer in your own communities all over the world. Well, listen, you know what? I ranted to you long enough. God had me come out of the shadows. He said, it's time for you to come on out the shadows and give these folks, they need a stern talking to. Listen, I hope that y'all have a good day. And, you know, listen, stay encouraged and stop using all the excuses to not get your own house in order. Take back your own house. Start with your own house, then start outside. If the bad guys outside your house doing all kinds of low down stuff, call the police. That's what they get paid for.